It's going to be a weird one for you. Got off work early today. All that stucco work, and I'm on to the painting. I'm just about done with it. I'm doing this video today to tell you guys a story because a bunch of coincidences led up to this. Weirdly, this DJ's been on my mind for the last couple months, I suppose. You might remember I had this contraption to use my the iPod to play it through the radio in my truck, and I broke the cord for that. And so for a little while I was listening to the radio, and it turns out I was listening to some radio station here locally, and the guy on the radio is this guy Matt Pinfield. And I went, oh my gosh, that guy's around. He's out here. Now I met Matt Pinfield. I'm not sure exactly when it was. It was late 80s. Could have been 1990-ish. It's a pretty good story that I'm going to tell you. But when I heard him on the radio, I thought about him. I was like, I remember this guy. And I know I have a picture of him. And it's here on Facebook, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. Because I think, you get a kick out of it. And it was in my mind. I actually wanted to reach out to him. He would never in a million years remember me. At least I don't think he would. This is a guy like, he's kind of like, I mean, I don't want to say this in a negative way because I don't mean anything negative, but it just came to mind. He's like the Geraldo Rivera of rock and roll in a way. Like he did interviews with everybody. And he was, I think it was 106.3. I don't remember the call sign or the call letters. This is in New Jersey. That he was on the radio back then, and I believe it was an alternative rock station. And that's how I met him, because one of my best friends in the world, Shakin' Steve, who was a DJ at Yakety Yak, this is in Seaside Heights, New Jersey. I worked at JJ Rockers, and I started the door, became a bartender, and worked the floor, and I became the DJ there. And then when that place closed, I went over to this place called Mr. Hips, which then changed to Club XS. And I was the DJ there, and that shared the building with Yakety Yak. And that's, Steve and I bonded over all that. And so Steve grew up with this band, Dramarama. We're going to talk about these two CDs too, because they're both autographed by John Easdale, and it's kind of a funny story there. And whenever those guys would come to town, Steve would bring me with him. So we'd hang out in the green room, and I'd hang out and meet John. And it's a funny story how I first met him. We'll get to that. But at this point in time, John had come to town, and he was promoting the album Vinyl because the record company wasn't putting any money into it at the time. And he was doing acoustic sets. So me and Steve kind of became the roadies for him for better part of a week or so. And one of the things we did was we went to this radio station while John was being interviewed by Matt Pinfield. Now all this is coming up because today, kind of as a lark, I put this photo of myself up on my Facebook page on the cover photo there, which is a poser, total poser picture. It's meant to make fun of myself. We did a bunch of funny pictures because we're out in the parking lot, getting lit, drinking, and every time they did a commercial break, John would come outside and have a few beers and go back in and keep doing the interview with Matt Pinfield. So there's probably more photographs from the time period that are not on my Facebook page. I'd have to dig them up, but this just makes life easy. And the whole reason I put this picture up was that another friend of mine this morning, I'm going to zoom the camera in right on the screen here in a little bit so you guys can see full, you'll get it. But this guy I know posted up pictures of himself skiing with his family, and I knew that somewhere in this picture folder was pictures from us skiing. It's probably like 1988 or something. And I thought it'd be funny because he was just a kid at the time, and for him to see the picture, which I shared with him. But then I was kind of going through this picture folder, and I ran across these images, and I found that ridiculous picture of me, which is actually way back at the end here. We'll scroll through these, and I'll tell you guys a story There's nightclub pictures here. There's some good stuff here. You guys will get a kick out of it. And anyhow, when I posted the image, I say it's a poser image from, I might have said 1991 actually. So, and I mentioned Matt Pinfield because he'd been on my brain anyhow, and I'd seen him in the picture here. And then somebody reached out, one of my buddies, Greg, who owns a business in New Jersey called Bark Busters. If you got an unruly dog that needs training, contact Greg Cleva at Bark Busters. No joke. This guy's like the dog whisperer. It's amazing. And Greg's an awesome cat, man. At any rate, he mentioned, hey, it's kind of too bad what happened to Matt Pinfield. Turns out just yesterday, poor old Matt Pinfield had a friggin' coronary. I think he's okay. I don't know what's going on. I haven't even looked at it. He sent me an article. I haven't read it yet. So this is all about Matt Pinfield, just to wish him well. But at the same time, I could tell this story and share a little bit of my history here at the same time. So Matt, if Matt Pinfield's watching this or anybody knows him, well wishes for him, and I hope he pulls through this. And let's just continue on now with this stuff, and then I'll turn it around again. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to stop the camera for a minute and set it up on the screen here. Just for you, it'll be a moment. For me, it's going to be several minutes of frustration. All right. Let's see what we can find on here. Well, for one thing, this guy here, this guy is John Eddy. No, is that right? Yeah, John Eddy. This guy's a pretty cool dude. He did a bunch of gigs at the Jersey Shore back in the day, and he's here on Facebook, and he used to play at our club, and obviously that's me in the staff jacket there with my own real name on it, which is always a mistake. You should always put somebody else's name on your jacket. I'll tell you stories about that. But anyhow, John, this guy was cool, and that's just one of the first images here. I figured you guys might get a kick out of that. This is me tending bar with my friend Sue. We used to work together at the back bar there. And that's my friend Colette here. I went too fast. And yeah, this was an after party. After the club closed. This is a gal from the club. It's my buddy Todd after he smashed his face in a mountain bike and wreck. It's my buddy John and Dez, and there's Todd and Anthony. Anthony kicked the bucket last year. Used to tend bar with him. His family and my dad were real tight. Joe Arminio. Oh, Debbie. This is funny. There's Pete Dragonis. There's Michelle. She used to run the club. This is me at the back bar. This is the sports bar section. I hated tending bar there. Wasn't enough business back there. There's my friend Sally. We'll just hot tub parties and Kim. Oh, so gal I used to date. I'm trying to get to sorry guys. Family stuff. Let's back this out here. Let's just get to the pictures I wanted to show you because they're here. So here we go. So this is my, I mean, this guy is just the coolest. This guy drives a 57 Chevy. It's my buddy Shakin' Steve. And this was the guy who was the original drummer, or excuse me, bass player for Dramarama. They all grew up together as kids up in Wayne, New Jersey. Great dude. The skull is, I mean, what he used to do with his hair, man, is pretty freaking wild. He is just a super cool guy. This is one of my apartments back in Jersey at the beach. So this is, whoops, did it again. This computer's super sensitive. So this is, I look like a baby in this picture. But that's me and John Easdale. That's outside the radio station during one of the breaks when he was being interviewed by Matt. And here's Shakin' on the hood of his Camaro. He's got a great story about these boots he's wearing. We used to go to New York City, and I was with him the day he bought those boots in the Village. He's got his Ike jacket on, a Sex Pistols t-shirt. This guy still is cool. The skull, man. They're a great guy, man. So here's John. This is in the green room at the Melody Bar. It's like an attic upstairs, I think, if I recall correctly. He's getting ready to go up on stage there. I took all these photos, obviously. I was right up on stage with him, taking pictures while he was playing. he really liked these pictures, and he was always happy that I gave him copies because his mom loved these images. That's a great shot. I think I have this one hanging up in the apartment somewhere here. And there's Matt Pinfield. And it was always just funny to me that I took that picture of him and I kept it all these years. And what's amazing is, um, I mean, back then, look at him. He was just this kind of out of shape fat guy, and that's just how it was. But today, he's like a stud, man. I went to his Facebook page, and he's jacked. He's been lifting weights, and so I hope that because he has gotten healthier and cut the weight and everything, that whatever he's going through right now is something that he can get past, and he'll get over it and hopefully recover. I hope that that's the case. Uh, let's all say some prayers for Matt Pinfield here. So, this is the cover of my local news, the Asbury Park Press. I made the cover. I was going to college at the time while I was working in the nightclub at night, and I was playing hacky sack in front of the chow hall there, and it was November, and it was real warm. So, anyhow, some guy took my picture. I had the JJ Rockers t-shirt on, and it made the cover of the paper. That's kind of cool. Oh, look at that. That's me with my name up in lights. They used to call me DJ Mr. Mike because I took no shit from nobody. Mr. Hips. That's before so you could see, it used to be Club Masquerade. I don't know what it became after that, but then it eventually became Mr. Hips, and then later it became Club XS. And again, I was the DJ there. And that's me. My almost like a preppy version of me there. And this is great. I did a video on this guy already. This is Schmitty, who was on MTV and did a lot of stuff, and used to do the curly shuffle. And Smitty and me worked. This is after I cut my hair. These are out of order, these pictures. But Smitty and I worked together in the DJ booth when I was DJing at JJ Rockers. And turns out Smitty had been a sergeant in the Marine Corps, which is crazy. And so we bonded on that. And he got a kick out of the way I interacted with the people who wanted me to play their music. And I just didn't let anybody... So what happened was he saw me talk to a bunch of people, and he was laughing at me, making fun of me. Then he grabbed the mic, and he did a talk up on me. The club is packed. He's doing his thing, and he starts talking. I want to talk to you about this new DJ, Mr. Mike. Mr. Mike takes no shit from nobody. He demands respect. And so this is the guy that coined my DJ name, which was pretty cool. And that's me in a booth at XS. I'm trying to... Let me... Just there's one of the Currys. Oh, this is Pete Jared. He and I became tight, and I used to kind of date this girl that was friends with his wife, and so he used to come to the bar a lot and do promotions for WJRZ. And matter of fact, this picture of me right there, when I got to LA, I cut it and just used that picture of myself, and that's how I got my first commercial out here, was from this picture. I used to be a good-looking kid, man. All right, that's not what I want to go to. I think it's my buddy's kid there, who's now got his own kids. By the way, here's my dad. Coolest dude who ever walked the face of the earth. Let's see here. This is Shakin' Steve here, big Johnny Thunders fan. That's with his hair down, by the way. That's without all the hairspray. It's me and Steve hanging out in his pad. That's me with his Washburn bass. You got James Dean in the background there. So Steve used to ask me all the time when he was DJing at Yak Yak. This was the summer of '92. Was it? Oh, man, I think I had already left town, and I came back into town for a weekend or something. I was staying at his place, and when I was in town, he would have me go up and hang out in the booth with him, because that's how he started. I had already retired. It's my friend Angela. Trying to just keep it on the Matt Pinfield stuff here, because I'm pretty certain there's A couple of good images. Surfing, back home with my pals. The boardwalk. Let's fashion show at the first aid squad. Trying to just cut through this real quick. So here we go. Here's some more pictures from the interview with Matt Pinfield. This is the image I put up today as the cover shot on my Facebook page. There's Steve again. There's John Easdale. This is us. This is a ridiculous image of me. Oh my gosh. You can tell I don't take myself too seriously. That's about it. All right, hang on. We're not done yet. All right. So, funny story. It wasn't that trip. I think it was an earlier trip. Shakin' Steve had turned me on to buying cool threads at the thrift stores. And he was, keep in mind, this was the late 80s when Steve and I met. And I was, well, let me just think here. It would have been like 88 or so, 88, 89, whenever JJ's opened. And I got a gig there. We all went there and stood in line and tried to get hired, and I didn't get hired. My buddy Todd had talked me into becoming a bartender. Like he had me go to bartending school with him, and I didn't care, but it was just something to do. And then he started tending bar out in Manchester somewhere. And then when the new nightclub opened up, or was opening up, it was adding the paper. They needed help. So we all went down there, and Todd got hired as a barback. Excuse me. And I didn't get hired. And a week or so, or less than 2 weeks into it, all the security quit. And Todd came over to my house one day, and I was in my tank top and lifting weights, and had a pretty good pump on me. And he's like, "You want a job? Come with me right now." So he took me over to JJ's and went up in the office and talked to all these people, which were mobsters, really. And they hired me on the spot. And that's how I got that gig. And then I met Steve like a year or so after that. And when Steve helped me get the job at Excess, it was Mr. Hips before it became Excess. He put all in the good work for me and everything else. Anyhow, that's how that whole thing worked. But Steve, hanging out with him, and I used to go in on nights when I wasn't working, which was rare. I worked pretty much every night the JJ's was open. It was a deal. That's why I had so many jobs. I didn't just do one thing. And the people running it, Michelle and Pete, I endeared myself to them. So I would open the club, close the club, set the club up for bands. I can run a nightclub, man. Those were good times. I'd love to do that again. It was a good time, but it almost killed me. The partying. The funny thing was that I say that, but the truth was I was sober at the time. The first night I tended bar, I've told this story before, but I got there early. I took it seriously, and I just watched people get progressively drunker and more ridiculous, and I became sober that day because I was like, I don't want to associate myself with that behavior. So for about 5 years, tending bar, working in nightclubs there, I was 100% sober. No weed, no alcohol, nothing. When I came back to LA, when I moved out here and I got into the bar business again, that's when things really went sideways because I started drinking again and doing that sort of thing. So that lifestyle can kill you. You got to be careful. But one day, as I was saying, went off on a tangent there. What else is new? Steve had gotten me into going to thrift stores because of the DJ thing. And Shakin' Steve, like I said, coolest guy. He used to go out and collect all these old mix-match tuxedo jackets and tuxedo shirts. And, he used to have his pants pegged, and he wore these Cuban heel boots that he was buying from New York City. And he was just, he's kind of a rockabilly rock and roll guy, but that new wave thing was happening at the same time. So he was kind of blending those styles together, making it up his own thing, being cool. And he played in bands all over the place. And, just a real interesting cat. So we used to go to thrift stores together. And one day I went by myself and I picked up this. I had it up until maybe 10 years ago. It was a It looked like a Beatles jacket. It was cut like a Beatles jacket. I think it was like silk, actually, sports jacket, and a couple other things. I think I had the shark skin. I had the shark skin jacket I picked up at the same time, and I was all excited. I was thinking of, this guy's going to dig what I picked up. And I get home, and sitting on the stoop is Shakin' Steve and John Easdale from Dramarama, and I didn't know who he was at the time. Excuse me. Is there a booger on there? Could be. So, maybe I should clean out the bat cave here just to be on the safe side. That's all I need. What am I? Other than the asshole that some of you think I am, I'm so pro. So, Steve tells me who he is. I'm like, hey man, it's nice to meet you. We go into the apartment. And John goes to my CD collection and pulls down his 2 records. So this is the earlier one, Dramarama Stuck in Wonderama Land. I know he signed this. I just don't remember everything he wrote on it. But, oh, this is cool. I hope I can get this in focus for you guys. So he's got, these guys are all meditating on the cover. And he's got a bubble thing with Mike, with exclamation points and a question mark. And then he signed it right underneath there. I hope that's in focus, and I hope you guys can read that. I'll change the angle in case it's bouncing light. And that's pretty cool. That's all he did there. But I think on this one, if I recall correctly, he's got Mike, Love. What the heck? Oh, Mike, Love, something Sutton. He did not write his own signature here. He wrote somebody else's signature. I hope this turns up. I'm going to change the angle on this. I hope it's in focus so that somebody can make this out here. But I remember, I think he went in here and did a bunch of other silly stuff. You know, we were in an altered state of mind. The pictures from the Melody Bar, yeah, he signed something here. I can't make this out. I think he signed his name on the inside of this here too. Not that it matters. I met John multiple times. I like John. He was just, when Obama became president, these guys were all big fans and I wasn't. And when I saw things that I was just like, this is terrible. They were all supporting it. I kind of distanced myself. I was like, oh boy. But they're nice fellows. But the thing about the Melody Bar, which was interesting, was like I think it's New Brunswick. And that was like Rutgers up there. A lot of my friends went to Rutgers. We had a band. I'm not going to try to find it right now. It used to come in called Orange Man. And they were an excellent cover band. Excellent. And they did a few Doors songs too. They were just superb. And they used to play up there. And having been a DJ and, having the green room experience with bands and some known bands, that was cool. And I remember going up to the Melody Bar to hang out with Orange Man one time. And it was funny because they saw me come in. They're, in their minds, it's like, it makes me think of Animal House when they go to the bar. Otis, wait till Otis sees us. He loves us. And then they go in there. He's like, I have no idea who you are. That was the feeling I had when I went to the Melody Bar to hang out with Orange Man. But they liked me. They were cool and go out on the I remember it was like kind of back door. Was there like a fire escape or something? So you just hang out with the band, smoking doobies back there. That was cool, man. At any rate, whenever it was when he came into town to promote vinyl, there was something going on with the record company. They weren't promoting it. They weren't pumping money into the promotion of the record. So John went on the road playing the songs from the record acoustically. And so Shakin' Steve, one of his childhood friends, and myself went with him. And we're like roadies for him for several of these gigs. I don't remember it all. But part of it was the thing there. But it was funny being at the Melody Bar because you know, this, I don't know, the story kind of was in a way he almost needed like babysitters or something because he would just disappear. It's like you might find him in an alley doing something with people, you know. So, but I remember people, you know, feeding him stuff, you know, up there in the green room. I guess it's okay to talk about it. That was decades ago. If John, if you see this, not talking smack, I'm just saying, you know. But it was an interesting time, is all I'm saying, and it was good times. But all of this just flooded into my brain again because me posting this ridiculous picture of myself, mentioning Matt Pinfield, and then finding out just yesterday the poor guy had a heart attack or something. So I'm going to look into that right now and see what's going on. I should have done that before I did the video, but I just wanted to knock this out for you guys real quick. I have a few other things to do today. And I thought you'd enjoy seeing these old images and hearing this story. It was a wild time, man. It was a wild time. Those were good times. So that's it for now. Once again, best wishes for Matt Pinfield. And hope you guys enjoyed this. And I'll catch you on the next one. Be kind to one another.